Time now for today's Money Monday, and today we are talking about preparing your taxes. Never a fun subject, but hey, it doesn't have to be that bad if you really know what to look for. Of course, joining us is David Seeger from Great Lakes Credit Union. Hi, David. All right, first of all, we want to talk about the markets this morning real quick.
Exactly. The markets are indicating they're going to be opening higher. And this goes off a high of last week as well. To a certain extent with the market, I mean, the market is really going gangbusters, and really the economy is just hitting singles and triples, but it's acting like it's hitting a home run.
I know.
So I'm afraid they might be getting ahead of itself a little bit, so that's something we need to watch to see what happens.
All right, on that note, let's go ahead and start talking about tax time.
All right, what to do to get ready for it. I know. Well, the same thing every year. For the most part, what you need to do then in terms of getting everything together, everybody in the household that you're going to be writing off on the taxes, get their, obviously names, addresses, obviously you'd have that, but social security number and date of birth. Get that for the tax preparer, or if you're going to do it online yourself, have all the information ready. So that's the first step. Everybody's names and ready, and social security and date of birth. Employer forms, these typical W-2. W-2 is a form that you get, and looks like a pay stub, but it has all the information that you made for the year. What you want to do is this: take your W-2, compare that with your last pay stub to make sure all the information matches. Otherwise, if there's an error, catch it then, as compared to filing an amended return if there's an error in your W-2.
Now, the W-2, your employer's required to get those to you by the end of the month?
January 31st,
okay.
Correct.
I went to get my taxes prepared last week, and they said, no, can't do them yet. You really can't do your taxes
until January 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There was a delay in terms of when we had the tax law that went into effect in January 1, they haven't got everything ready yet.
Right, right.
So
you know, you can't do them just yet. It's just physically impossible.
Exactly.
So, be a little bit more patient this year, I guess.
You're going to have to be. The rapid refunds aren't made quite as rapid.
Right.
And bank investor forms, the 1099 INT. This is the form you get from your bank telling you how much interest you made at the bank for that last year. Only if it exceeds $10. If your interest was less than $10, they're not going to send you one, so don't be looking for one. 1099 DIV, that's dividends from a brokerage, a firm that you might have, like stocks and bonds and things of that nature. 1099G, those are refunds from state and local governments, unemployment and stuff like that. And 1099 MIS, that's for spot labor you might have done, or if you won a prize. If it's over $600, they're required to give you a 1099.
$600 the threshold.
That is correct. Okay. And then gather all the other documents you might have. K1 form is a form that you would have if you're involved in a partnership or a subchapter S corporation. And you would need to take that information of that and file on your return. Records from any purchase of sales and also of stocks and bonds and things of that nature. If you sold a security, you need to know when you bought it and also what you bought it for, so you can figure the capital gains. So you have to gather that information. Total amount of alimony that you might have received, and total amount of income and expenses from any rental property.
All right, now we're going to have to go and take a break. We're obviously going to finish this list in the second half of today. The one thing I want to talk about is obviously things that you can write off based on what you do for a living.
Exactly.
We'll touch upon that coming up
in
the second hour. And we're talking about tax season and everything you need to do. We want to go ahead and just get started on this.
I think we should,
the first part you can see, we'll post it, of course, on YouTube on our Facebook page and northwestohio.com. But let's go ahead and continue with this
1098 forms. These are forms that you receive from the bank. It tells you how much interest you paid them. So this would be like for a mortgage, for example. Also, typically on a 1098, you will see maybe taxes that they paid for you through escrow, and maybe also property and casualty insurance. So that'll be listed on there for you as well. And of course, you know, land contract payments. If you have a land contract, you gather the interest that you paid on your land contract, and of course, student loan interest as well. Okay, retirement statements. Gather your retirement statements. There may be some fees in there that may be deductible, like for your 401k, 403bs, IRAs, simple IRAs, or Keogh accounts. And also, it's a good time to look and see where you stand with your retirement account. How much you have.
Your 401k isn't static. You can shift your portions around.
Exactly, asset allocation, very much so. And deductions. These are some of the deductions that you could be looking at and trying to gather. Gifts to charity. Total state and local taxes, mortgage interest, points, Points are something that you pay if you had a closing. PMI, that is back now, private mortgage insurance. You couldn't take it, and now you can take it again. Some of the tax changes on January 1st allows you to take private mortgage insurance off again.
An actual benefit.
Exactly.
The first I've heard of.
That's right. Property taxes, medical, dental expenses, that's subject to adjusted gross income as well. Moving expenses, and let me see, casualty and theft expenses, unreimbursed employee expenses, mileage for medical and charitable expenses. Most people don't know you can do that as well. And health insurance premiums and some personal property taxes. And tax preparation fees, sales tax under certain circumstances, alimony, and also here we talk about the standard deduction. Okay, people talk about going long form or short forms, the Schedule A and things of that nature. Well, if you add up all your deductions, and if you're married and filing joint, if it doesn't exceed $11,900, you take the standard deduction. And if you add up all your deductions and they don't exceed $5,950, if you're single, you take the standard deduction. You take whatever's higher. 80% of the American public take the standard deduction. Only 20% of the American public actually itemize. Most people don't know that. But anyway, that's what we're looking at for that in terms of actual deductions. Now deductions, they reduce your tax liability in proportion to what you pay with your tax rate. So if you're in the 15% tax bracket, for every dollar of deduction that you have, it'll reduce your tax liability by 15 cents. Okay, so it's not dollar for dollar. These next ones tax credits are dollar for dollar. Child tax credit, that went back up to $1,000. They kept that. It was going to go down this year, but the reforms, they took it back up to $1,000. And child and dependent care credit, earned income tax credit for people in low and moderate income families, and adoption credit, that's something they added also, but they're not ready. You can't file your taxes if you have an adoption credit until about March because they don't have the forms ready. And it's one of those type of things. And education expense up to $2,500. And how to complete your taxes, you can do it yourself. You can find a service to do your taxes. You can file online at the IRS website, purchase a tax prep software, and this is really neat. There's an app out there for 1040 EZ. This is somebody that doesn't have any deductions per se, and they just have earned income like through their job. So you can get an app, you can take a picture of your W-2, and it'll fill your taxes out for you and e-file it, and you don't do anything else.
Wow.
So you can't get any more simple than that.
Gotcha.
David, such great information. Again, we're going to post all of this, the first part from the 5 o'clock hour and the 6 o'clock on our YouTube page and also northwestohio.com. Great information. We certainly appreciate it as we all prepare our taxes. Woo.